What is up, guys? So today we're going to take a look at the recent Bluepost from Blizzard on Wowhead, and I wasn't originally going to make a video about this subject because, well, I figured most of you are probably reading Wowhead yourself or you're watching multiple other content creators that make videos on updates like this, but then I read through the entire thing, and it's actually quite relevant to pretty much everyone who's going to play TBC, and some of the changes or something in the Bluepost is actually very relevant to gold farming as well and which professions you're going to choose. So I kind of want to read through it and go through it with you guys. So yeah, I'm just going to read the entire Bluepost for those of you who don't read the post yourself, so you can sit back and just listen to me reading through it, as well as commenting on the things that I think are relevant and where I have something to add in forms of my comments. So let's go and check out the Bluepost. Okay, so here we go. Raid testing in the Burning Crusade Classic Beta is now underway, and we have received many answerable inquiries on every aspect of the game. What follows is an outline of the answers to many common questions about the beta, which we will update as necessary over the coming weeks. Attunements. So attunements will function as they did when originally released. I think this is a very good thing, this way everyone has to go through the original attunement questline and everything you have to do, and that was a crucial part of the Burning Crusade. It's a lot of work, but it's really fun. I haven't done it myself while it's current content, but I have gone through parts of the attunement questline, and you always have something to work towards, and I really like that. Original questlines will be required to enter each instance, and purchasing heroic dungeon keys will require revered reputation. So as the Burning Crusade goes on, this will most likely go down to Honored, as that is what happened in the Burning Crusade as well, and I'm really happy to see they are going with the revered reputation requirement early in TBC. This way you will have to work quite a bit at the beginning, and then if you start TBC late, there's kind of a catch-up mechanic by not needing all of that reputation. And yeah, here we go. These attunement requirements will relax as the game progresses through the content phases. So for example, Karasan should initially require attunement, but will no longer require an attunement at a later phase. Thereafter, a group should still need the Master's Key to open the gates, and dungeon keys should be relaxed to require on the reputation. In a later phase, I want to say phase 5, but we'll wait and see. Throughout the Burning Crusade Classic, we plan to make it so that progress on forthcoming raid attunements can be made before the opening of the raid the attunement is for. So for example, you should be able to start the Black Temple attunement for killing Alar once the eye is open, which will be before Black Temple is open. And then we go on to dungeons and raids. Original health and damage values will be used. These, as well as some mechanical changes, will then be adjusted in future phases. The original state for raids will persist throughout the phase during which it is current content. With the release of the next phase, adjustments will be made as they were in the original TBC. Exceptions will be considered. We are looking forward to your feedback on adjustments during the testing of future PTRs. I think this is a very interesting choice of words, because so far they have been testing it on the beta, and PTR is the public test realm, so maybe they are considering doing raid testing on public test realms as well in the future. Buffs acquired from creatures and quests across Outland are purged upon entering an instance. I think this is good. This means you don't have to go around, pick up the buffs, and then go into the instance. This does not apply to world buffs from the Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor. Don't know why. Those auras cannot be obtained by players. Oh yeah, right, you can't get them above level 63. So once again, a good thing. Ritual of Summoning will not work inside instances or Netherstorm, so you can't be a warlock and summon people to dungeons. So dungeons where you have to have flying, you will have to have flying. You can't just get someone in the group to fly up there and summon your alt, so you will have to have flying for the Netherstorm dungeons. And to get to Netherstorm yourself, you have to go there by yourself, you can't be summoned. Badges of Justice will not drop in raids until a later phase, but the Badges of Justice dailies will be available in all phases. Developers note, while these were both changes made in the late Burning Crusade, the original one, we feel that dailies provide healthy gameplay in encouraging dungeon variety without significantly impacting gear acquisition. I really love this one. It means you can do dailies, get some badges, and it really spices up the kind of gameplay, and once again it's exactly this. Dailies provide healthy gameplay in encouraging dungeon groups. Primal Nether, Nether Vortex, and World Boss items from Doomwalker and Doomlord Classic will be initially bound on pickup, as they were in the original TBC, and they should be updated in later phases to make them BoE instead and tradable. And then Primal Nether and Nether Vortex will become available from the Badges of Justice vendor at a later phase, but they won't be there from the start. Outland faction vendors will initially sell the items that they originally sold, and their offerings will update as the content unlocks. Examples here is the Swift Skyfire Diamond Gem recipe from the Consortium, the Mysterious Ammo from Karazhan, and PvP gear from all factions. And now we are getting to the really interesting part in my opinion, and the things that will be really relevant to gold making, especially early on and in the raiding environment as well. So Ring Enchants and Jewelcrafting-specific gems now have a profession requirement to benefit from them. This is a change from the original TBC, where you could, for example, level up enchanting, enchant your rings, then drop enchanting for something like, let's say, leatherworking, to have those drums, and you can also pick up tailoring to get the tailoring set. And basically ring or enchanting and jewel crafting were temporary professions where you made the things you needed to made, and then you dropped them and leveled up something else, so you could have tailoring and leatherworking, but also have those ring enchants and jewel crafting specific gems. But you can no longer do that, so there's no longer that profession roulette, where you have to basically go around and switch your professions 24/7. And let's just read the developer's notes as well. The design intent for these perks were a player power reward for having that profession, and the fact that they continued to function after unlearning that profession was a technical limitation in the original TBC, so basically they never intended for people to level up enchanting, enchant their rings for them to drop enchanting, and once again pick up something like leatherworking. And I think this is really good for the game itself. It created an unhealthy loop of always having to level up professions. But then again, for us gold makers, it provided some really good gold making opportunities. So now there will be less of those, but it's still a really good change. Weapons that were changed from main hand only to one-handed late in the original TBC will be restored to their original version in the Burning Crusade Classic, and should be updated in a later phase. Developers note, changing these to one-handed weapons, or one-handed, was a very late change in the original TBC that would have a notable impact on player power, because some of them are only best in slot when they are one-handed, so you can equip something else in your main hand, or you can have two of them, but when it's only in the main hand you cannot use two of them, and in some cases some of those weapons are no longer best in slot. Epic Engineering goggles will be available from trainers with the Tier 5 phase, so they will not be there from the beginning, making engineering a less lucrative profession, and less raiders will be going for engineering. And basically the only real upsides of engineering early on is gathering those clouds for some modes, which is still good for gold making, but not getting those goggles is kind of a slap in the face. Harris Pilton, Zephyr, and cooking and fishing dailies will be available from the beginning, as they do not directly or largely impact player power. Personally, I love this. I love daily quests. It gives you something to do, a reason to log into the game. Even if you don't feel like logging into the game, you always have something to do. You don't just have to go and do dungeons or raids or farm stuff. You can do dailies, and some of these dailies can give you both reputation, gold, and materials. So I definitely love this, and I agree, they don't really impact player power at all. It just increases the amount of things you can do while you're logged on, which is a great thing. Now this next one is a bit, I don't know what to call it, but I think it's good. But I'm also worried about what they will do later on, so let's just read through it. Landro Longshot will not offer WoW trading card game code redemption, so basically you will not be able to get the Swift Spectral Tiger or any other TCG loot in the Burning Crusade Classic, at least not through this guy. But developers note, we don't intend for the Burning Crusade Classic to make duplicate use of WoW TCG codes, nor do we want players who have unredeemed codes to choose between games for redemption. Landro Longshot may be repurposed in the Burning Crusade Classic for a different use, but that will not be related to the WoW TCG. Now let's talk a little bit about what they can do with Landro Longshot when they say they are going to, or they could repurpose this guy for the Burning Crusade Classic for a different use. And personally, I would love to see some of the TCG mounts or items in general in TBC Classic somehow, but I don't think, once again, I don't think it should be related to the WoW TCG, but the same loot should definitely be available. And I would love to see some type of gold sync in TBC Classic where you can, let's just say this. Let's say this guy offers you a Swift Spectral Tiger for 50,000 gold, and a regular Spectral Tiger for 25,000 gold or something like that. That would create a healthy gold sink in the game itself, making gold more valuable, and it will just take some of the gold away from the in-game, the in-game environment or the in-game economy, as right now we already have tons of gold in the game, and through doing dailies and regular quests in TBC and just raiding and vendoring stuff, inflation will cause the prices of everything to go up, and by doing this we can take some of that gold away and therefore decrease some of that inflation, which I think could be really good for the game itself. I don't know how you feel about this, but let me know in the comments down below. I think having some gold sinks in the game itself is definitely a good thing, and I would love to see the TCG mounts somehow be introduced into Burning Crusade Classic. And by doing this in forms of a gold sink, it would also mean you don't have to spend any real money on those mounts, which I think is a good thing. I want to see as little monetary stuff in the game as possible, so instead of adding the Swift Spectral Tiger through an in-game shop for real money, I would much rather they just add it as a gold sink. As a closing word to the video itself, I just want to say that we don't have all of the changes yet in the game, and they are constantly listening to feedback, so definitely if you have any feedback, leave them in the comments down below, and also go to Wowhead and leave them there as well. Basically leave it anywhere on the forums and just let them know how you feel about everything, and what they still need to work on. And personally, I still want to see some changes to the drums. I don't think we have all of the info on the drums just yet, and I do think they're still working on it, but I don't think the current thing they have in the beta, or the current information we have on the drums, is enough, so I definitely want to see some reworks on the drums. I would also kind of like to see some other things. Basically, I just want more information, and once again, I really want to see those TCG items in the game, and I also want to have that engineering goggles, as I think it's kind of unfair that blacksmiths get their weapons at the start, and then engineers don't get anything except for having the ability to gather those motes from clouds. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the video, guys. I just wanted to read through the patch notes, or the Bluepost, and talk to you guys about it, and leave some comments and on what I think about the entire thing. So let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you disagree with, or if you have any of the things that I said about Landro Longshot. Do you agree on having some gold sinks in the game? Let me know in the comments, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more TBC content, and that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.